Okay, so they say, you know, the big stat in mental health is 1 out of 5 people will have a mental illness at some point in their life. So that got me thinking, 1 out of the 5 women I end up going with are bound to be crazy. Which is actually okay, because the other 4, well, they're my relatives. So one of them, of course, is my mom, and you know, it's election time right now, and I remember last election, we went to place our vote at a school, and there was a sign on the front door that said, "This is a scent and nut-free environment." So my mom turned to me and said, "Well, Michael, I guess you can't vote." During that same election, I was walking around the waterfront, and I was increasingly becoming psychotic. I thought there was going to be an imminent terrorist attack on the bridges or something, and that Stephen Harper was coming, and he was going to get assassinated, which didn't really bother me, but the terrorists did. So, you know, I ended up in the hospital, and, you know, people complain about the hospital, but it's really not that bad a place, because sometimes you get what's called a day pass. So it was a Saturday afternoon, I got a day pass, signed out, hopped on the bridge, headed to the bridge terminal, was real excited to be out, and I was jumping all over the bus and practically sitting on the bus driver's lap, and as we pull into the bridge terminal, I see a pretty girl with black hair light up a cigarette. So I say to the bus driver, "Ooh, I'm gonna ask that pretty girl with black hair for a cigarette." So I get off and I do, and over the course of the smoke, she gave me, or I gave her my abbreviated life story without, you know, going into the hospitalization details. And she asked me for my number. So the next week we go out and we see Batman The Dark Knight. It was a great movie date, and I had to get back to the hospital after, so she came with me and waited at the bus stop. No one was around. Before long, we started making out. So we're kissing, and like halfway through, she pulls away and says in her sweet little voice, "So, are you sure you're not crazy?" A million things went through my mind. All I said was, "Well, what do you mean?" And she goes, "Well, it's just that the only guys that bump smokes off me at the bridge terminal are those crazy guys from the hospital who are out on a day pass." Oh, the poor thing. I just kept kissing her, but I bet she's in therapy now. So it's also hockey playoff time. I'm sure you guys are just excited about that as the election. So in, you know, before the playoffs started, I whipped out my old collection of hockey cards, and I was going through them, and I thought to myself, you know, wouldn't it be great if they had, you know, stat cards for psych patients? So then I started to think of what mine would look like, right? So of course it would be like the photo on the front, and it would be me in like a blue Johnny shirt with a glazed look over my eyes, maybe a bit of speckle coming down my side of my mouth. And then on the back would be all my vital statistics. So first of all, you know, 2006, it would be bipolar, Nova Scotia Hospital Rookie of the Year. Yes, that's where it all began. 2007, Best Hallucination Award. I swear it was better than any acid trip you can ever imagine. Then there'd be things like number of times hooking up with a nurse, 0. So far. Number of EKGs, 0, so far. Let's see, escape percentage, 0.902. I tell you, it's so easy to escape from the hospital. You just sign out and you never return. Let's see, bipolar patient of the year, 2008. I was manic the whole year. It was awesome. Most times in the therapeutic quiet room, you know, the padded cell, 2009. I was manic the whole time. It was awesome. And then, of course, there'd be like the team photo with me in the, you know, the hospital grounds with like the psychiatrists, the nurses, the OTs, the rec therapists, the commissionaires, security, all just kind of doggy piled on top of me, and I'd be underneath going, "This is therapy, I love it." So anyways, I'm hoping to release those to the public by the time the playoffs are over, so look for those, and that's all I got. Make sure you get your asses out to vote. All right, see ya.